How's it going, everybody? Post here. It's all about the gains. It is all about the gains, though. I guess you're on the West Coast. I'd be like, dang, that's like an early time to do all that CT. That's like an early. I was like, that's like a late time to work out. I used to work out before bed. Like when I was in the Marine Corps, I would get off shift, work out, and go to bed. But now, with like pre-workout and everything else I take, I don't know. Maybe I could start doing that. The wife would probably get upset because the kids would wake up every time I went to the gym. It would just happen to happen that way. Like, oops, moving that on. It would without a doubt happen like every single time. Whenever I'd want to go to the gym, they would be like hollering. That's why I like going at noon. It's usually either that or running errands where I'm at when you guys like midday. I find that's the best. Which is kind of going to be the talk, or the point of the talk of this show, is our overall health as traders. Live. Yeah. That's true. I use stochastics when I'm playing Geronimo stuff, and I use it for entries off the queues, which we're going to get into in a minute about kind of what I've been doing, which is limiting my trading and being extremely selective when it comes to if I come and I sit during the end of the day. And instead of thinking about it in a massive volume, I think about it in like one trade every 15 minutes type thing. Like, let's find a setup. Let's wait for this to happen. Up, didn't happen. I've got to find another name. I've been trying to adapt. A few people have sent me some messages and emails and stuff, and I'm not, just because I haven't talked to them about responding directly, but I'm going to mix in some answers to some of the things that people have asked me in the show tonight. And then I'll also reply like personally, just giving a few people time to come on. So did y'all have a good day? I can see some people hopping in on YouTube. Sup, what's going on? Per the norm, I'm watching both YouTube. Yep, that's right, Little Cash. It really is, and it's hard when you go from like a aggressive bending mindset to like a take one trade, wait for the next really good trade, take one trade, wait for the next one, as opposed to just slamming things. Because then what happens, or in my experience, what happens to me is you get that one really good trade, and so your mind goes into, okay, I'm about to get some follow-up, and I'm going to slam the next one. Because that's what we do when we like bend into stuff. You're just like taking an extremely high volume of trades. Like CT's like, oh, I trade 100 to 200 contracts or like trades sometimes, and I do the same. And so in order to do that, you're really just taking a lot. And what I've been doing is slowing that roll a lot and really looking for that quality and not quantity in my trades, especially as the day goes on. Like early on, sometimes I'm a little bit more. The first 10 minutes, I'm pretty selective. And then after that, I start like ramping up if I find something that's trending, like however long it takes for it to happen. And then I slow down and I get very selective. And it's just like trying to find things that are working, especially in this range bound market. It's just like crazy toxic because you're only going to get those one or two good moves, in my opinion. So, let me look at something really quick. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kick this puppy off. If you got questions, I can see the YouTube chat. You can throw them in there. I'm also watching Discord. Generally speaking, YouTube's easier. But you can ask in either places. I am not a... Oh. I am a father, and my children are now crying. I will give him a second to see if he calms down on his own. So, which I hope he does. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I did. I said something about it, dude. I'm going to give him a second, but anything I say should be taken as at face value and just my opinion, meant for entertainment purposes. You do whatever you want with it. I would not recommend you exactly follow anything I say, and everything I give is literally just an opinion and is only worth what you pay me for it, which is right now, and generally speaking, nothing. So, hey, hang out. Let's talk the stock market. Let's talk your health. Let's talk a few things I've noticed about myself, some mistakes I've been making, how my week has gone, and let's get to it. I'm Gator. Let's go. So thankfully, in this, at least for the next second, I have Corsair's stuff. So I have Corsair's headphones, IQ. They're pretty good, I guess. They're pretty solid wireless. There might be better stuff out there. I'm weird. I don't know, weird, but like if I start getting one brand of thing, I like to have my stuff match. So it's like Corsair keyboard, Corsair mouse, like some Corsair case, Corsair this. And it's not that I like Corsair. Bit louder. I mean, my mic's about as loud as it can get. You could turn up your volume, or I can try to talk louder. Can y'all hear me okay? Yeah. So mess with your mic, or make sure your YouTube is turned all the way up. I think mine has nobody calls Gator weird. If so I don't know, I like stuff to look uniform. Maybe I'm OCD, but I'm not really OCD. Like anyone who is OCD would totally, that's probably just because I'm talking louder, would totally make fun of me because I'm not at all. And I'm literally just like slowing down for a second, because if I get in the middle of a rant and my kid's screaming, then I'm gonna have to run and I'll lose my train of thought. So I'm just watching him to hope that he stays down. Wife's out of town, so I've got them by myself tonight. So and so this is the first thing I want to jump into tonight, guys, is distractions. Very important. See, that just came in. Very important. So our life outside of trading affects us, and we all have different mindsets and different personalities. And even the people that are super, I don't like the term alpha, but let's just say the go-getters. If you go back to some of the earlier videos, which I will bring up in the future, in which we would talk about, like, your two different personality types. Like, generally speaking, you're more analytical, kind of nervous people, and you're more just kind of go at it and, you know, throw the kitchen sink at it type people. You're slightly more aggressive people. Neither one is superior to the other. They're simply different, and they just look at things differently. And we all function better when we have generally a mix of the both. And there's some strengths and weaknesses in both of them. But all of our personalities, we have different flaws, and we have different weaknesses, and different things like distractions affect us differently. A look into what I'm currently doing right now and going through, like we're putting our house on the market. So we're in the middle of putting our house on the market. I'm talking to realtors. I'm talking to people to come in to maybe possibly quote out, doing a few like fixings and stuff, working on moving, like, you know, I've got kids, so I got a ton of stuff, so I'm working on moving like all my stuff to a different storage place so I can get all of that stuff moved and taken care of. And then once it's all moved, I've got to like do deep cleaning of the house, and I've got a new house that we're about to close on, trying to get the paperwork and everything finalized for that. And I've got my taxes that are supposed to be finished up, reviewing them, making sure that all the deductions and all that stuff are there. So throughout the middle of the day, and even at the beginning of the day, I'm busy. Not only that, but we're switching my kids' schedule from a 2 nap schedule to a 1 nap schedule right now. So they're going from sleeping like when the market opens basically until about an hour and a half in. They're now awake until 11:30 or so. And depending on the day, they're sitting right here behind this little gate trying to pull it over and screaming at me. And we have a nanny and she's amazing and she takes care of them and will like take them off and stuff. But they're, either there or they're upstairs or they're up. And I'm distracted. And before the market opens, because they're awake now, it's not like they're getting ready for bed. I'm playing with them. I'm coming down and sitting with them. They might not sleep through the night all the time, so I might be a little bit tired. So I have these external pressures that are on me. Now, I thankfully have an amazing support system, amazing wife, and we've been blessed enough to be able to afford somebody to help with the kids. So it's not, just like, oh man, it's just me here with them. But I have noticed I feel an actual pressure to trade well and trade early right now. So it can cause me to not trade intelligently because I know the market's not going to be good. And I don't want to sit here all day because I actually have a bunch of stuff, including my normal jiu-jitsu and working out that I like to do. So it's like I know I have all that other stuff on top of all the other stuff that I want to do. So I have this like pressure that I put on myself that like, hey, you need to trade good, you need to trade smart, you need to trade early. And it can kind of build up into bad decision making. And it can cause an undue amount of stress and can force you to not see the market intelligently. And I have made several mistakes in the last couple of days. I don't think I barely made it all last year. Like I think in the last week, I've probably clicked buy calls when I meant puts and vice versa, which isn't even like I know how not to do it. It's like 2 different windows, and I used to not even open 2 windows. But like 5 times maybe in the last week. And that never had happened before. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not trading well. Like, I'm doing fine, don't get me wrong. I'm trading small, like I talk about how I did. I came back today. But, like, I was up at one point. Well, not at one point. Like, the amount of money I made today, I was flat on the day. The amount of money I made today was probably about 50 grand. I made and lost the same 10 grand like 5 times. And what was happening was, because of the type of market we're in, the moves don't last very long. And I was taking a setup, and I would catch it, and some of the stuff we'd call out or whatever, and then I'd be like, okay, and then the follow-up. And I wouldn't trade intelligently and wait for the next really good trade. I was trying to overtrade and almost force, like, okay, here we go, here's the next setup, instead of just waiting 5 minutes, 10 minutes for the next easy trade. The next one that you're like, okay, here it is. It's like almost expecting too much out of the market, but I know it's not that type of market. Like, I'm not thinking like, oh man, this is going to be good, and I'm not taking trades because I think that they're necessarily like great setups or perfect setups. I'm taking these trades and I'm making poor decisions, I think, because of external factors that I'm putting on myself. Things that actually they're all positive things. Like, they're all good things going on. Like, all the stuff I just mentioned, they're all good, they're all positive. But they're still extra, like, hey, this has to get done, this has to get done. You got these, you need to file, you got this you need to do you need to do all this kind of stuff. And when all that stuff happens, it's an extra factor that is almost making me personally, like, try to identify and force things too quickly. So I've been having to kind of correct myself, like, live, and I was doing some like reflection on it today, and I was like, I'm really making probably 4 or 5 times the amount of mistakes as I was making before. What's wrong? What am I focusing on that's wrong? What's kind of getting to me? Am I sleeping enough? Am I eating right? Maybe, maybe not. Should I change my like morning routine? Maybe I'm getting up a little bit late, I know I've got the kids in the morning. I've got this kind of stuff. I've been feeling a little dragging, like I've been dragging in the mornings. I need to do something to shift that. Should I go to bed a little bit sooner? I'm not sleep. I'm personally sleeping good. So like, or no, I'm not actually. They wake me up. I sleep good, but I don't get consistent sleep. If they don't sleep good, so it's like 50-50. But which there's nothing I can do about that. I can't get mad about it. But what are some things I can do to change? Because I don't have a really good morning routine. And it's not because I don't want one. It's because children, I can't really have one, practically speaking. So I can either get mad about that. I can either let the external factors of life kind of push on me and weigh me down. Oh, I've got this or I've got this. Or I can understand it. Be like, hey, right now you have all this other stuff going on. Plus the market's hard. So are you really going to be catching 5-figure moves every day? It's not that you can't do it, because I made the same 10 grand like 5 times today and then lost it, made it back, and lost it, made it back. So it's like, man, so it's like you can see the plays. Let's just tone down everything else you're trying to do, and let's just take, instead of taking 50 to 100 trades, let's just zone in and let's take 10, 15, 20 trades. Let's wait and let's look for these kind of high conviction plays. And let's try to attach ourselves, and here's something, and let's actually find things that work. And that's what I started to do today, and I think that's what I'm going to try to do in the very near future going forward, like tomorrow. Actually, probably won't be here early in the morning. I'm going to pick up my mom from the airport. She's flying in from Florida to, help out with the boys, and, well, really just to play with the boys. Not necessarily, no. So it's not that I have to do 5 minutes in between trades. It's just now in the middle of the day, usually I am, because I'm looking for very specific setups. I'm just slowing down the amount of them. So it's like if I'm sitting there and I catch something, Dimitri, it's like I'm sitting there, I'm catching something, and then I'm like, okay, that was a good trade. And then I kind of sit back and I almost do like a reset. And I'm like, okay. I'm like totally trying to get off of bending because of the external pressures. I'm bending at the wrong times. And it's like I'm almost okay with missing the move. And then I kind of will take a sip of coffee or look at that or give my kid a kiss. And then I'll sit back up and I'll be like, okay, let's see. What am I looking at? And I'm trying harder to reevaluate like what I'm doing and just find the good setups. Now, if something's trending and Tesla's like running up or running down, or there's something that's working, obviously I'm not going to not trade it. But it's more like when I'm looking for something, and when I just like have been sitting there for a little bit and I take a win and I take a loss. Exactly. And then I want the next one. And I do the same thing, and that's what it is, and that's how I got wrecked all the time. And that's Boof in chat. So it's like, that's what I do. It's like a drug. It's like a high, and you catch it and you're like, that's 5 grand. And then you're like, okay, here we go. Next breakdown is going up. Okay, all right, and here we go. I'm in, and that's 2 grand lost. Okay, here we go. Like, I literally was up and was making money, and then lost on 20 contracts 3 points and then 2 points and 2 Tesla moves because I got filled above ask and below the bid, no PI on either side. And I lost about 10 grand in 2 trades. Like, it was freaking crazy. And I was like, this is crap. And then I went to see if I was recording so I could go to Fidelity and like challenge the trades, and it doesn't matter. I might end up challenging them, I might not. All that being said, like Boof is saying, like Dimitri is saying, it's like a drug when you catch it. And if you've had trouble, I personally have not had trouble with addiction in that way, but if you have, you know what I'm talking about. It could be the sugar. It could be something, it doesn't even have to be drugs or alcohol. It could be literally like sugar or like anything else. Like when you think of it, you can't say no to it. You want the next one. It's like you eat a cookie. Yep. You want to eat a cookie and you just have to have the next one. You take something and you want the next high because you want to chase that high. You want to chase that more hit. And now the thing is, it's weird, is that the second and the third one are never as good as the first one. You're always chasing that. You're always chasing what it felt like before. And that first couple trades, when you're just on a roll and you hit 3 or 4 of them and you get that adrenaline rush and that dopamine, is that that just hits you, and that joy, and like, bam, I got this, 5 grand in 2 minutes, 2 grand in, I have 5 figures in 6 minutes, boom, whatever it is. And like, okay, here we go, we're going for 20. And you just sucked into it, and you're just chasing, you're just going for it. And it takes you over. It takes you over more when you have other factors that are behind you that can be kind of controlling you or manipulating you, because you're not able to zone out and just kind of, not zone out, that's not the right word, but detach and just take a trade and look for the right setup. You're chasing the high. You're chasing the rush. You're chasing what's next. You're chasing that feeling. You're not looking at something like more trades. So I'm trying to actually cut back on kind of chasing that, and realizing that I'm not saying only take 1 trade every 5 minutes, but if I only take 1 trade every 5 minutes, I would probably have a better P&L at the end of the day. Like if I was wait, find a good trade, walk away. Like, yeah, you're going to miss moves, but it's not about the moves you miss. It's about the stupid stuff that you, do in between the winning ones. And what you'll end up doing, and this is usually what happens to benders and guys who blow out their accounts, is you're green or you're red, it doesn't matter. You get green, and then you go back, and you're like, well, I did it again, so I'm going to keep doing what I just did. And then boom, you get back green or flat, and you're like, okay, here we go. I'm going to slam it. Okay, there we go. And you kind of got that. Okay, here we go. Here we go. And so you're like honed in on that junkie, on that feeling, and you're going for it. And then boom, you're back down to red. And you're like, okay, I'm going to get back I'm going to do what I just did, and you're not going to change. Boom. And then maybe you make it back, maybe you don't. Maybe you go a little bit green, but you don't stop. And at some point, you get down. You say, I'm going to do what I just did to get back. Down more, down more, down more, and you're wrecked. And then you're not only not able to get that high, because now there's pretty much no chance of you getting back. Now it's the opposite. Now you're in like a crash, and it's like I've never been high, but like a bad high, from what I've heard people have told me. It's like an actual coming off of a high that just completely, like, you're drunk and you just come completely off of it, and you just feel miserable and you feel like crap, and all these negative emotions are on you, and you've got your withdrawals, and now you're down money, and you're an idiot because, if only you had stopped, you would be up here instead of down here. And it really doesn't matter if you have the addictive tendencies or not, and it doesn't matter if you make 20 grand or 2 grand, whatever your normal days look like. That feeling is the same. And so I have been trying, because of all the external pressures and stuff, to just be intelligent early. It doesn't mean I'm just taking the best setups, but it just means I'm trying to slow it down. Because when everything is crashing around you, when you've got this to do and this to do and this to do, and the pressures of being whoever you are and doing whatever you got to do and doing what you got, that is not, the market doesn't care. Market doesn't care. Sorry to tell you. Market could care less. What's going to happen is what's going to happen. You need to be able to see the market clearly when you sit down here. And it would be better for me if, like, I can do it because I've done it. I'm sitting here sometimes bouncing them if they're fussy and like trying to take a trade and they're trying to smack things on my keyboard. I'm like, no. And, I can do it sometimes. I'm really slowing down when I'm doing that. But it would be better for me not to trade than it would be if I could not control myself when these extra pressures are coming on. And when you have all of this stuff happening to you, you have to learn and practice slowing down and detaching. There's all this noise, there's all this quiet. The only thing that matters is what's in front of you in the market. Not the emotion of what you feel from the last trade, not trying to get the money back, not trying to beat yesterday's P&L, not trying to do any of this, not looking at the money, but just the next smart trade. How can I find the next smart trade? What do I have to do? I have to quiet the noise in my head. I have to quiet the emotions. I have to relax. I have to be able to detach a little bit and actually see, I like this, I don't like this. You know what? I don't like anything. I'm going to sit back for a minute. I have to actually detach getting off that high. I have to do what I can do not to get high. And yeah, I agree with Booth saying like this is worse than any drugs like, he's done or anything. This will completely wreck you and completely make you feel like you're the best person and the worst person all in the same day. I've never lost in one, it's crazy. So if you're not an addict or whatever and you do this, you're probably going to turn into one at some point, or you definitely have the ability to. But it's so important to be able to slow down in the middle of the day. One method is what you eat for breakfast. And Mark used to talk about this, and I don't talk about it much, but your actual diet, what you actually put into your body, is so freaking important. You can look this up if you want to. Do research on it yourself. But I've listened to some therapists and other people who have talked about people with anxiety, people who have get stressed out and get worked out early in the morning. One thing that can help is eating high protein, high fat diets in the morning. Don't take anything I say for granted. Go do your own research. But what are you actually eating before you sit down? If you're anxious when you come to sit down and you're like, your body is actually, eat a gator jerky or gator tail, eat gator tail every morning. If your body is actually, the chemicals that you put in it, the things that you put into yourself affect how you sleep. They affect how you think in the morning when you actually sit down. And you can actually take dietary changes to change the way your mind reacts to certain things. It's just a fact. Same thing for sleep. I don't know what your diet is. I'm not going to tell you, exactly what you can eat and all this. Go look it up. Go do your own research. But if you're stressed out in the morning, if you're anxious, what foods are you putting into yourself before you sit down on the market? Are you able to relax a little bit before you sit down? Are you worked up when you come down here? If you're worked up and you haven't ate, it's going to get worse and your body's going to be in this hyper stress mode. You need to give your body some energy before you sit down. If you're drinking or drugs or anything else or, other things the night before and you're coming in not clean and kind of dazed and confused, it's kind of like me not getting sleep because the boys don't sleep good or because they wake me up. In the sense of that non-repetitive and non-continuous sleep can actually negatively affect your decision making early in the morning in the market when things get going. And so if right now, in my opinion, this is a hard market, I think there are some things that are easy in it, and I think there are some things that are hard. For benders, it's very hard because I cannot bend into a strategy multiple times. I have to take a few trades without bending. Bending hasn't been working for this week. Next week, it might be different. I might bend in and have a 6-figure week. I don't know. Probably not. I'm joking. But, I'm not even trying for any amount. It's just some good trades. Okay, I got a good trade. I'm not expecting a name to give me another good trade after it got it for me. I'm like, this name is probably done until it sets back up again because it's just going to chop around. And I'm trying to think about my life before I start trading in the middle of the day and throughout the day. What are things I can change to get myself in a positive mindset? Because when you're here and you're down and you're red, you don't want to walk away, but that's exactly what you need to do. You might not want to eat a big breakfast or a healthy breakfast before you sit down and whatever, but that might be exactly what you need to do. You might not want to stop doing the drugs, alcohol, whatever it is the night before you're trading. You might not want to do that, but you probably should. What about your family? What about your relationships with the people around you? If you have this other like negative, relationship with your spouse or your partner, what could it be doing to you? How could it affect your ability to sit down and think cleanly? What if you have financial pressures? Some things we cannot control. But what are ways before you sit down that you can mitigate them so you can do this job? Because right now, it's not a bending market. It's just not. Like, there's nothing that you can do to actually, generally speaking, bend throughout the day and make money. Booth said it today in chat when we were talking some, and you're here, so, you were like, I don't remember when it was last year, you came in midday drunk and made like 5 figures or something. Like you sat down, you were drunk, and you traded, and it was that easy. Like the market was that easy. And it might get that easy again. But right now it's not. Right now we actually have to evolve as traders and learn and adapt to what's in front of us. What's the market giving us? What kind of trades are working? If you get this massive gap down day, if there's this massive gap down, okay, it's going to be a hard day to trade if I'm trying to go short. I'm probably going to get a little bit of a bounce at the beginning. I can probably take some longs. I can look at this and maybe catch a few shorts. But am I really going to be able to trade great throughout the day? No. Why? Well, the market gapped down, not the Qs, but like Facebook gapped down 100 points overnight. Yep, I'm probably not going to be able to trade that today. Well, this is happening. I'm going to have to be more selective with my trading, because you're not going to have just that easy trading for the most part. Something gapped down and now it's filling the gap to the upside. Well, until it picks a direction, it's probably going to be difficult. I guess I should probably wait. Like, you have to be in a mindset and in a place where you can let the market do what it's going to do, and you leave it alone. You don't try to impose your will on it, but you just ride it. You find what's working and you trade what's working. Yeah, you do. Because you can only lie to yourself so many times. You can only break your promises to yourself so many times. Like, you can only make so many bad choices so many times before you run out of the ability and before you're at rock bottom. And it doesn't matter if you've given up half your year, all your year, or whatever it is. Like, if you can trade tomorrow, you're still good. Like, if you can come in tomorrow, you can sit down and you can do this, and you're not one day away from being done, you're good. You can still do this. You just have to make a good choice. You have to make your next choice a good choice and your next trade a good trade. You have to find ways that you can actually improve yourself and accept what's in front of you as far as the market goes. And the market is what it is right now. I'm not going to get mad at it that Tesla's not following through. It is kind of frustrating that these names aren't doing what they're supposed to, but it's kind of predictable. Let the market do what it's going to do. Instead of getting frustrated with it, wait, take 5, 10 trades, something like that, find some good trades, be like, okay, I'm up, I'm done for the day, and lock it in, and who cares? And then, yeah, sure, you might miss one big move or one big news play, but overall, your mental health of just trading intelligently, of making the right choices. Like, somebody said, the person, I don't know who it was, it said 10,000 hours is what it takes to get, like, really good at something. Well, 10,000 hours is 6 hours a day for 5 years, I think, is about what the math comes out to. So you need to do something that long to get really comfortable and really good at it. So can you sit down every day and just trade intelligently for the few hours that you're going to trade intelligently? Be happy with your setups. Be happy with the trades that you take. So like Boo said, whether you're red or green, when you look back at it and you're like, you know what? I did good and I'm off. Who cares if you missed a move or you did whatever? Who cares? There's going to be a billion moves if you do this for the next 20 years. Sure, if today's your last day or tomorrow is your last day, maybe you had to catch that move. Realistically, you didn't. And realistically, Missing a move is not going to end you. Trade intelligently. Find good setups. Get your mind right before you sit down if you can. If you can't, you have to trade differently to allow yourself to not get toxic and know, like, hey, I didn't sleep good last night. I didn't get a good breakfast this morning. I didn't do all this. I didn't have my coffee. I got the kids screaming. Okay, what am I going to do? Am I just going to do what I normally do and power through it? I wouldn't recommend that, but you can do what you want to. Or am I going to try to trade intelligently, find good setups, and actually grow? So that is kind of, I've had all that going on. I know it's affected my trading because I've been like this isn't that hard. Like, the market's not great, but I know how to trade this. Like, I've been looking at them like, I can do this, but I've been making poor choices. Some of the things I talked about are some of the reasons I made poor choices. So I'm having to slow my roll until you get everything else under control and kind of in line, and like all your kind of ducks in order, and it makes things a little bit easier. It's going to be more difficult to actually trade intelligently. So I'm really focused right now for myself on just trading intelligently, not chasing that high. If I catch a really good trade, like, yes, if it's setting up perfect, I might try it again, but maybe I size down to like one contract instead of 10, or I just like, and I take some of that stress off. And I'm working on that because the whole 10,000 hours comments is you actually have to train your mind to see trading in a non-addictive light. And this is the key, if you're still here listening, is trading can't be your drug. And it can't be your high. Because if you're chasing that high and this just replaces something else, then you're never going to be satisfied and you're never going to be happy. Because there's always going to be more money to be made. There's always going to be another trade. There's always going to be this. There's always going to be that. You need to actively train your mind to see trading as a business, as a job, as a series of smart, intelligent choices that made you money. You took something, you bought it, and then you sold it back to somebody else at a profit. It's not a drug. It's not something that's, there to get you a high or to get you whatever. It's there for us who do this as a living, as a source of income, to provide for our families, to do whatever else that we're doing, and it's a vehicle for those things. You can have another vehicle. You can go work a 9 to 5. Maybe this is just a side. Maybe this is just a side hustle, whatever it is. You need to have the right view of this. In order to do that, you actually have to train yourself over an extended period of time to see it and to use it that way. It's like going to the gym. You need to take time off in the middle of the day to go to the gym, spend time with your family. You need to, actually craft your life around this in a way that is going to make you psychologically tough and give you psychological fortitude, to where if you're red and, like Boo said, you're trading 95% of your trades, you're like, they were good trades. You just don't care because it doesn't matter. You know why? One of the questions somebody asked me, this is a abbreviation of it, they were basically asking about finding the best setups and finding the best ones and when to take them and when not to take them. Well, I'm not talking about bending, but here's the thing. The C strategies are extremely effective for base hit trading, and sometimes home runs and doubles. And those base hit hitters, they hit some home runs every now and again, and they hit some doubles and stuff. But C strategy trading, simple, easy, effective strategies. And if you're and if you don't know what that is, and you're in our Discord and stuff, if you go to CRO Education, move my face, CRO Education right here, you can see this. There's a link of a bunch of videos, and I'm going to be posting some in the future because of everything I have going on. I don't have the time to sit down and record the audio. I do have a lot of videos recorded to show you guys the strategies, to talk through them and stuff like that. I'm limited on time to actually do the audio and to do the PDFs and stuff. All that being said, they're great and they work, but you need to actually be taking them and not just bending into things. So the rule, and Geronimo said this tonight, and I couldn't listen. Like, I was playing with my kids, about to take them upstairs, and I had Mom down here, and I heard him say, somebody asked him something about, trading, or I don't know, obviously something. And he said, well, yeah, I do. Like, if you do this all the time, and let's say I take all the Mark 1s early in the morning and an actual Mark 1 and a name with actual relative strength or weakness that actually checks the rules, like I take those every single day. So I have an inordinate amount of faith in the strategies I take, because even if today they don't work, over the course of a week they work. So even if they're not trading great one day, and even if I lose money one day or one week because things are hard, over the course of time, when you trade the same and you trust the strategies and you're trading intelligently and you're doing all these things, it adds up to success. So like the stochastic plays, like I've been trading those for a couple weeks now, getting better at them in different names. And when I see them in these names, I have done them so much that I trust them to actually enter them and let them play out. I've been in Google plays today for like 10 minutes plus. Why? And the reason, I was small size and everything, but I trusted the strategy to play out. And there were reasons behind why I took them. But it's because I take them so many times. And you do it just so many times. You know, if you let the strategy happen and you take it and it's a good setup, you're going to win over the course of time. And that is kind of part and parcel to trading and to trading intelligently. It's like if I come in and I'm taking all the bad setups and I've got the pressures on me and I didn't eat right and I didn't sleep right and I did all this other stuff, and now I'm coming in and I'm toxic. I take all the bad setups and now I'm too scared to take the good setups. And I missed the good setups because I lost on the bad setups. And I bent and I overtraded. But the good setups were still there. Like I said, I made the same $10,000 like 5 frickin' times today. Like, so that means that if I would have not traded bad multiple times and made a few poor decisions, I would have had a much better day than what I had, which was flat. Something to think about. Something to like actually realize, and then actually try to find a way to actively change in my trading. That's what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to develop in myself to actually become better at what I do. So identifying those things on the outside, saying, hey, I just want to catch a little bit and get done. I want to take a few good strategies that I know work, that I have faith in. I'm going to take the first this, I'm going to take the quick money. First Mark 1, first green takes red, first in these names. There you go. And then I'm going to go do the other stuff because I have to get that other stuff done. I can't sit here all day and be like this and, oh man, I got to get my money back. I got to do this. I got to, and then I can't walk away from the computer and be like, oh, I've got this. I have to, and I could be missing this move. No, I need to have a healthy relationship with trading. I have to have a healthy relationship with the stock market to have an, over the course of a long time, successful, to do this successfully over the course of a long time. Or it's going to eat you up. And you're going to have highs and you're going to have lows, and you're just going to be an addict chasing the next high. And you're either going to get over it. Like, how does all addiction end? Like, how does all addiction end? You on a street corner shooting up in your arm, or you recover. Like, it ends in the death and destruction of the person who's addicted and their family and everybody around them, or they get out of it and they recover. So if you're actually properly focused and you have the right relationship with trading, this is the best job in the world. And yeah, Booth, there's no in between when it comes to this, when it comes to addiction. The market's no different. Create a healthy relationship. Find ways to create a healthy relationship. And here's a secret. It might mean making less money for a little bit. Not saying that more money is not going to come, because believe me, like, I have some really good days. Most of my days aren't really good relative to my best days. Most of my days are very flat and small, and for me, and and I try to keep them that way intentionally, to where I look at my P&L and it's just like slowly grinding up, and then occasionally it's just like boom, big day, boom, big day. I'm trying to do that. And then the days after those days, I try to like size down and just trade smart, and like, hey, that was the reward. I'm not trying to chase that next high, because I want to have a healthy relationship with trading to where it's something that is not emotionally destroying me, that's not taken away from everything else I actually have to do right now, from the relationships I have and everything else. And unless you want to end up on the wrong end of, the junkie on the street, you actually need to create a healthy lifestyle and habit around trading. And that will help you get away from bending, get away from taking bad setups, actually controlling your wins and having bigger green days and bigger years. Because remember that picture that we posted the other day in Friday's show, if you didn't watch it. And actually, Curbster, or Little Curbster, I'm sorry if I did not do the other one, so there's misspelling in this one. So for everybody to see again, like, that's the numbers on what you could do. You don't need a lot to do that. But we think we have to make that whole $75,000 in one day, or that same I got to make that in a month. No, like, you don't have to do that. Consistency is what's going to get you there. If you're having a hard time hitting a baseball, you're not going to be, screw this noise, I'm just going to rear back and get everything I got. Like, in order to get out of a slump, you just got to learn to make contact again. You just got to be consistent. You just got to get that consistency. All right, I'm teeing them up. Oh, here's one. Boom. That was just a fat pitch. There's a perfect green, takes your head into a 5-minute breakout on a strong name. Boom. And then they come. But in order to see those and to get there and to have those actually just be the icing on top of the cake of a successful trading career and a successful week, you actually have to just have those base hits and that consistency, which is that good relationship with your trading, which in turn is a good relationship with everything else that is happening outside of this job in your life, for the most part. There's always exceptions. There's things you can't control. I can't control my kids. I can't control all this other stuff. I have a crap ton of stuff to do outside of here. As soon as I get off this, I've got stuff I've got to do. Like, I can't control it. But I have to find ways to mitigate that and to balance what I'm doing to where I can have a healthy working relationship with my job. So this is not just a chasing the next high of the next $1 grand, $2 grand, $5 grand, $10 grand day. And what Boof's saying in his chat, every time you bend, you take a risk of losing yourself forever. And a lot of people have, wiped out doing this job. A lot of people who are better traders than me are not doing this anymore because they tilted and they gave it up and they just kept going and they wrecked themselves. They wrecked their accounts. They wrecked their ability to come back. They dug themselves out of the hole, or into a hole, and they told themselves they couldn't get out of it. And so they kept digging that hole deeper, and now they're done. You really have to stay away from the parts of trading that make you toxic until you can control it. And if you can figure out what that is, and if that's trading after 10:30, or if that's getting green and giving it up, like, whatever makes you toxic, whatever makes you too high or too low, you need to figure out ways to avoid that. I'm not saying don't make more money, but I said this 2 weeks ago or last week when the market was really good. If you're trading really good and you're making money, that's when the discipline counts. That is when you create good habits for when the market's not good. Because if you're bending into stuff and making money and you're not taking good setups and you're rewarding yourself for bad behavior, it will catch you. There's always a cost. It's always going to catch up to you. You know when it catches up on you? It catches up on you when the market's tough. And that's when you're going to pay the price for the choices you made last week and last month when you were doing things you shouldn't have done. No, you didn't get punished then. You're getting punished now. And the people who traded intelligently then and maybe made less, I bet they're still just consistently maybe smaller or maybe bigger, whatever it is. But they're just consistently there, and they're the ones that are being rewarded for the consistency. Bad habits, you might get away with it for a little bit. You're not going to get away with it forever. So yeah,
I agree, Little Cash and Booth. And yeah, you could definitely write them down. I think there's power in actually writing things down. Um, Actually put a pen to paper and either a sticky note or something else and stick it on your screen or stick it off to the side and, hey, when you're green, stop, whatever it is. Hey, when you have this feeling, stop. When you catch a big move, be like, hey, yo, I'm done. I don't need it. Not. It's not even that you couldn't make more. It's just, yo, I'm done. Like this picture here, 5 grand a day. That's $1 million a year. I'm up 5 grand, guys. Yo, I'm a millionaire. Bye, guys. And I'm not saying you should look at the money or that you should necessarily do that. Maybe it's just I made some smart trades and I'm feeling good about this. All right, I'm done. I'm not going to try to bend in anything. Market's good, but I got what I needed out of the market. You guys take the rest. And you just train positive, you just trade that consistent, like steady positivity in yourself about the market and not having to have the big days and stuff like that. So try something. Try something. Try to identify what you're doing wrong and actually make a change. Actually improve yourself. And it can be done, but remember the whole 5,000 hours thing. It cannot be done right, or 10,000 hours. It's not going to be done overnight. And it's going to take time, and it's going to take work, and it's actually going to take you making choices that in the moment will delay gratification or actually take out your ability to catch a move or to miss a move, and you're just like, I don't want this one. And it might completely go in your favor. You're like, oh, well. And you just can't be chasing that high every single time you sit down. Yep, that's true. He would. If somebody caught a trade and they made 3 or 4 points or whatever it was, and they just completely ripped it, he would always be like, hey, calm down. Like, you don't want to be up here and you don't want to be down here. You want to be right in the middle of that kind of consistent, just, that consistent level. Those are usually the best. Those are usually the best traders. And that's usually when I trade the best, is when I'm at that consistent just mindset and I'm just going. And Little Cash, yeah, that's not a bad symbol. I could have done that if I would have had a better day if I would have taken 5 minutes off in between. Like, even if it's like, hey, you go from red to green, step up, walk away, go get a drink, come back, sit down, and you're like, okay, now let's start back over. Like, if you just sit down, you're just like, okay, now I'm green. Okay, I'm trading really well right now. The next trade's going to work. And you're just going into the next thing. Like, unless you're just in the middle of a hot move, just stand up and walk away. And, you're saying it's like an AA meeting. And I've never been, but yeah, it probably is. And it could be. But you really have to chill. And you have to train yourself to chill. And it's that discipline that's going to get you there. Like, I could show you every single strategy, and it wouldn't make a difference. It would not make a difference if you didn't actually get the mental psychology part of trading down. I could show you any strategy that worked. It could have a 95%, win rate and all that, and you would totally get wrecked because when it didn't work, you wouldn't know how to handle it. And you would overtrade and you would see things that aren't there. What's up here is what makes a good trader and is what makes you consistent. It's what's up here. And it's training this. It doesn't just come. It's not just automatically given to anybody. No one's just thrown on somebody. It actually takes action and repetitive action of making smart choices and then stepping away and locking it in. So you have that positive relationship with your job. Questions, thoughts? While we're still here. Sorry for not doing the show last night. The wife was leaving town, so I spent time with her last night before she headed out. She's at a bachelorette in Georgia. It is not September. Wake me up when September ends. As Green Day said. See if I've got a few.
So, and one of the things that you do have to do, and for a few people that have messaged me who talk about taking the best trades and trying to figure out which trades to take, it really is taking, and I'm not talking about bending, but taking something so much and so often that you actually you actually are so confident in it. And if something works 80% of the time, you take 90% of the setups or something like that. Like statistically, you're just going to start winning. So really, you just have to start trading a strategy. So the Fibonacci's Haiku. So I just started using them. I haven't done a Fibonacci video. I've done some other videos on chart setups. Maybe I'll do a Fibonacci one in the future. I've recently started using them, and I'm, just practicing using them, trying to get good at using them, and finding out how I can incorporate them into my trading. But a short from some Q levels and what Kelly does with the Fibonacci levels, I haven't done a lot. So waiting on, so like what Kelly does is kind of some of the stuff I'm working on. So as I kind of get more comfortable using Fibonacci's and finding strategies that kind of work within them and entries and places that I can actually trade, I will I'll post videos on them and stuff. But right now I don't have anything on Fibonacci's. And you can always watch Mark's old videos and go back and watch some of the stuff. It depends on the red day. I say I do have a tendency to be more disciplined when I force it. So I have to actually force myself to be disciplined, because what I generally come into, no FOMO, is I generally sit down and I'm like, I'm going to make back what I lost. And I'm like, I can make it all back, and then some type mindset. And I really have to fight the aggressive nature of like having a target. So I generally, and I'm talking sizable red day, not like, oh, I was down $1,000 or something like that. Like if I have a sizable red day that actually impacts my week and stuff, I force myself to be disciplined, and I force myself to trade less. And then sometimes I'll even change my tier sizes, because I know that there's a good chance I'm not going to be disciplined, because I'm going to want to actually, when I start trading and I'm like out of the ability, like when you're kind of sucked into trading, it's like you're in a high or something sometimes. And I talked about that and the whole OODA loop thing, and you're actually like, you can get messed up and sucked into something. Later accuracy in the AM. And it's easier to let your guard down and your discipline down. So I try to do things beforehand to actually stop myself and to actively like trade intelligently. So it's kind of a mix. Two parts with that. Yes. So do I? It's a yes. If you're too emotional, yes. If you can't just sit down and trade, sure, you could take a day off or a day or two off. Generally speaking, though, what would be better if you could is sizing all the way down. Reason being, and trading is the only way you're actually going to get over something is to face it, and is to trade intelligently. Like, and not even try to make it back. Like Boof and other people have said earlier, not about making the money, just about making good trades. So you have to like have positive reinforcement, and actually you have to have a positive outcome to fix yourself. So it would be better for you to come on to take 3 or 4 trades that were really good and be done and be happy with it, and then lock it in, just so you get that positive reinforcement of something good. So you're actually training yourself. So you give yourself a limit and say, hey, I'm only going to trade 10 minutes today. I'm only going to trade 15 minutes. I'm going to sit down at the computer and I'm going to take, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to trade for the first 15 minutes, 30 minutes of the day. And if I'm green, I'm going to log off. Or if I may take 2 or 3 good trades, I'm going to log off, because I'm just working on that positive like mindset. I'm working on like getting my confidence back and finding my feel of the market again. Telling myself, making myself believe I can do this, because when you get down, you're like, oh man, I just can't do this anymore. I don't know how to trade. This is so hard, and I just suck, and it doesn't even matter. I'm just going to take this trade and I'm just going to hold it and screw this noise. Whatever happens, happens, and something stupid like that. And you're too into that. So there's nothing wrong with taking a break. Like if you're too emotional, sure, step away. Without a doubt, don't be in it. Like if you can't sit down, it's good to take a day or two. But really what you have to do is learn to overcome that negativity and micro goal it, like Little Cash is saying. So it would be better, in my humble opinion, to actually be able to trade small, get a few positive things, and then stop. And 15 minutes the next day, a few positive things, and stop. 30 minutes the next day, a few positive things, and stop. 30 minutes, a few positive things. So I think that's more important than stopping, because all stopping is going to do is maybe possibly get you over it, but you're going to sit back down. The emotions are going to come back. You're going to start dealing with the same thing again as soon as you start losing, and you're not actually teaching yourself to overcome the thing that got you into those red days and that stuff. So I recommend like completely sizing down and then like trading less time, based on I don't know your situation, but based on your situation. So that would be my general recommendation is, yeah, sure, take a day off and then come to it. I mean, it happens to all of us. Yep, I see. I got your stuff, and call me Sally. I'll respond to you. I'll see you tomorrow. And it happens to all of us. It happens to me all the time. Like, how many months I might even start off the month like 30, 40 grand green, and then the next week go back down to flat, and like I lost 40 grand in a week. You know how many times that's happened to me? Like, how many times I've been trading and like Monday, Tuesday had good days, and because I tilted, I gave it back. Like with the whole 10,000 hours thing, you just have to do it again and again and again and again and again, and you have to adjust and find out what's working for you, and then change and continue to grow, and to continue to change and continue to grow. That's all you can do. Like, you're going to do that. Like, what you're saying is not like I do it all the time. I've done it all the time. I try to come back. I'm feeling good. Hey, that one red day, and I give it all back. That's fine. I just don't let it get me down. I come back the next day. I trade intelligently. And generally speaking, something probably happened on that one day. Like, if you were trading intelligently, micro-goaling, and then you gave it all back, on that day you didn't trade intelligently, right? Something happened. So, like, if you gave it back, if you got toxic, like something happened for you to get wrecked and to give it all back. So, it's not just you continue to trade intelligently and you lost. So if you tilted, then you're like, okay, you need to identify that day, that thing. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? My emotions at the time. Was there something there? Do I need to change? And then you just constantly get better and get better and get better over time. And trading isn't like this. It's kind of like, it's like a stock, and you're going to have your ups and your downs. And so it happens to all of us. You're not out of the norm at all there. Yeah, you don't. Sorry. And Dev, I kind of feel I can feel the same. And yeah, Dev, so like I did what you're doing for like 6 months when I started. And I said this on a previous video. I like sat in my truck and I traded from my cell phone's Wi-Fi on a Mac. And I would take one, two, three trades, and that was it, and I would log off. And that's kind of what I would do. And what you're saying, like, hey, I just need to sit
and tell yourself that you don't have to trade. Like that is good. What you're doing there is going to prepare you for when you actually stop doing this. Like or start doing this full time. Like being able to sit there and not trade is going to be more valuable than being able to slam stuff like me and Boof have done in the past. Like you need to be able to sit there and be like, I'm not going to trade, and be happy with not trading for 30 minutes, and then go to work and be like, hey, it wasn't there, but guess what? It might be there tomorrow. And you know what? You know, that 7-day rolling average, that week-long P&L, this whole number thing right here, keep that long-term goal in mind. And if there's nothing there in the first 30 minutes, I didn't feel comfortable today, I didn't take a trade. That's a good trader. You have a healthy relationship with the market if you can do that. You have a healthy relationship, and you can be like, hey, it wasn't there today. I didn't see it. I wasn't feeling it. Cool. I'm gone. Come back the next day. Bam, I hit a few of them. All right, feel good. Next day's the tricky thing after you get it. There wasn't anything there. I didn't take anything. That's a healthy relationship. If you can sit there for 30 minutes in the middle of the day and not take a trade and wait for that perfect setup, oh man, you can catch some good trades. You can make some money. It's if you cannot sit there for 30 minutes without trading, that is not good. Yeah, Mike, and so I mean that's it right there. Like I said, I just traded too long. So you know in a sense what you're doing. So it's like, okay, I did too much. I traded too long. I was doing really good with this consistency. I changed something, traded too long, tried to make too much. I started feeling too good. I got real confident. I was like, okay, I'm moving, I'm grooving, and you're at the bar, and then the one girl shuts you down, and she's like, oh no, and then your confidence is shot because you thought you were such a good dancer, and she don't want to dance with you. You know, don't wake up, son. So that's kind of how this works, Mike, is you get confident and then you don't keep doing what you were doing. You then like, here I go, and you throw too much of yourself into it. And instead of doing what you did the days that got you that consistent micro goaling, you're like, bam, all in. You know, I got this, and now you have too much confidence, and you're not here in the middle where you're just micro goaling, you're taking good trades and good setups. You're like up here now, cloud 9. Somebody just told me I'm cute. Here I go. I'm going for it. And then you're doing too much, and you're trying too hard. You gotta be like the Fonz, I guess, to use an old reference for all you oldies, and you just gotta just be there in the middle and just be cool. Gotta be cool. You can't be like way up here or way down here. You just gotta be in the middle. And trading is like that. And if you're doing it in micro goals, you know what, Mike? You're not blowing out, and you're not doing it with full size. And a lot of us do it, and we do it with full size, and we get wrecked. And we blow out our weeks, and we blow out our months, and our years. And that's just a fact. So what you're experiencing is what everybody goes through and what everybody does. And it's a completely normal part of learning and getting good at this job. Because that's what this is. This is a job. I actually haven't know something, but I thought about that the other day. I'm like, yo, with this gap down market, so I'm actually going to scan for some 8x8s. So I'll let you know when I find some. I was thinking about doing some swings off some 8x8s. So I'm going to rewatch that video and then look for some. Yeah, Mike. But overall, the market's kind of bearish, so I'm not overly interested in swinging. Yeah, I'm looking for it. I don't know what the market's going to do. Maybe it'll flush. Maybe it'll flush and we'll get some big down moves. It's easier to trade right now when things move down because you got less resistance below you. Or less support. Well, guys, you got anything else for me? Questions or thoughts before I cut this? If you're still hanging out, I'd appreciate it if you leave a like and leave a comment afterwards. If you want to know about our Discord room, leave a comment after the video and I'll send you a link to it. Subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We'll go live tomorrow night. Tomorrow night at probably 10 o'clock ish. do another hour. I don't know. Who knows how long we're going to be doing it tomorrow. But we'll just be sitting talking. If CT can come on, if not, maybe somebody else. But we'll see what's up. And we'll do a show tomorrow night. Do a trade review. I haven't drawn any on those actually that are recent. I'll draw some for you. I have some old ones. Nothing I see. I'll spend some time drawing some. I don't see anything that's in effect right now. In the Qs, really, you're looking down here. I guess you could do this. Really, you're just looking at this area. Yeah, Graph, thanks for hanging out. Later, Martin. And you could say yesterday's low. And you could say down here somewhere would be kind of your low. You got support down like the 337 area. I can do some extra trend line drawing and match some stuff up with this here and see what we got. But I don't have anything right now that I would consider other than the market's just overall bearish. Yeah, honestly right now it's just going to be yesterday's low. And then once you get through that, I'll do some trend line drawing for some of these gaps. You can't see this. There's some gaps over here, so I'll draw a few lines and see if I can see something that might be. But most of your lines are going to go through some of these, so unless they hit perfectly already, there's a good chance that most of them aren't super good on the Qs. So, but I'll do a little bit more trend line drawing in the future. I can share them with you. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I really do. Let's trade smart. Let's create good habits. You can't control everything that happens in your life, but find ways to mitigate its effect on you when you're trading. Eating healthy, a lot of other things. Remember, the market is not your drug. It is not your. It's not there to give you a high. It's there. It's going to do what it's going to do. You can use it to make money. You can be intelligent with it, or you can chase the highs and chase the lows. And like we said earlier, if you're doing that, you're going to end up on the bottom because addiction only ends one way. So if that's what you're doing and that's what you're looking for, you have that. That'll be your end. If you're chasing the addiction, your end will be that tweaker outside Booth's window screaming in the middle of the night, waking him up. So I do hope that that is not your guys' path, and then instead you choose discipline, you choose good habits, eating habits, sleeping habits, other habits, and create an environment in a way that you can actually sustain this and create a healthy relationship with your job and with your trading. I appreciate it, guys. It means a lot to me that you're here, that you hang out. I'll see you all tomorrow. May or may not be here first thing in the morning. I got to pick up my mom from the airport. I'll probably be trading 15 minutes, then heading out. So you guys are the best, and I will catch you all